TLDW, I expected to be disappointed, and I am. I'm going to split this video up into 3 parts. What has been changed, what bugs are still confirmed to be in the game, and what went wrong. Before I begin, I just want to preface that if I don't mention something, it's because it hasn't been changed. This is, for the most part, the same game we've all played, but with a little texture mod on it. Take that as you will. Graphically, the game looks just like DS Fix with the 60 FPS mod. There are no real surprises there. The only real distinct change is that the visual effects and spells and lighting is a little better in some places. Particularly the lighting on the spells is quite nice. It seems that they put a lot of effort into this, and it does show. There are also a lot of other subtle changes that you probably won't even notice unless you're specifically looking for them, but they are there, sort of. It appears that the healing mechanics from Dark Souls 3 have returned.
Oh, my favorite!
The player limit has been raised to 6, with 1 host, 3 co-op phantoms, 2 red phantoms, and 0 will to live. The game now uses a matchmaking server for multiplayer. This is not to be confused with a dedicated server. They are very different things. Password matching has been added. We don't have any confirmation on how it works in terms of scaling higher level phantoms down to lower level characters, but we will see when the game comes out. You can now scale the UI. This is honestly one of the cooler changes in my opinion, which is sort of sad, but I do actually like it, and hey, that's pretty good. Input queuing into the menu appears to have been completely patched out. This means that tumble buffing, single move swap, and permanent move swaps are all fixed. Oddly though, you could still queue 2-hand weapon inputs into the menu. So whatever they did to fix this might be kinda jank. The standard item duplication bug has been patched, but there is reportedly a frame-perfect duping glitch still possible, and props to whoever found that. Ghost strikes appear to have been removed. I was not able to perform one, and I have not seen any reports of other players managing to do it, so that is probably gone. Dead angles have been removed, and reversed WOG and force no longer work like they used to. Red eye orb invasions appear to follow the same system that DS3 uses, where they give you a searching for invasion buff when you use the item, and it continues until it finds another player or you cancel it. Invasion prioritization is so far unknown. I personally did not notice a trend of invading hosts who already had phantoms, but that is entirely anecdotal, and we will have to wait until we have a much larger sample size of invasions to compare against. There appears to be some kind of restriction on item trading. It appears you can no longer give lower level players overpowered equipment, but we don't actually know what it will entail just yet. And that is really all for the changes. Chain backstabbing. Chain backstabbing is back. Why? Reverse rolls are back. Toggle escapes are back. There is actually a new tech that is unique to Dark Souls Remaster, where opening the menu will clear your input queue. The use cases for this seem to be pretty small so far, but who knows what we'll find later on. Spell cancels and related memes are confirmed, so have fun with your WOG canceling. Halberd running attack animations are still broken in multiplayer. Shocking. Enemies killed in multiplayer occasionally refuse to die and just stand there indefinitely. Occasionally, when a summon sign fails, it will lock you out of summoning another phantom for an arbitrary length of time. My favorite bug. I have heard that the default moveset glitch is also still in the game. This is a rare glitch where a player will look like they're using a longsword regardless of what actual weapon they're using. It only happens in multiplayer, but it is incredibly annoying when it does actually happen. You could still summon into an area as an invader, but be completely unable to reach the host due to the level design. Great bug, 10 out of 10. Falling through the ground during a PvP critical has not been confirmed, but I imagine it's still in the game because the backstabbing mechanics are exactly the same as they were. You could still parry white phantoms in co-op. Nice. Bow aiming in first person is still incredibly inaccurate and annoying. Enemies will sometimes float in multiplayer for no apparent reason. Multi-backstabs and multi-riposts are confirmed to still be in the game. They're really rare, so I didn't see one myself, but I believe that they're still in the game. It makes sense. There's no reason why they'd take that out. And that is all the bugs that we could actually test with what we were given. We will have to wait for the full release to find out about the rest of the bugs, but I think it's safe to assume that they're all still there. Now it's finally time to talk about the game itself. And before I do, I want to make it clear that I'm going to be talking about the Steam version of the game exclusively, and not the console versions. The PS4 and Switch versions of DSR are mostly fine, as they are the only version of the game available on those platforms, so there's nothing to compare it against. The Xbone was backwards compatible with the original Dark Souls, but DSR is a major improvement over the original Xbox 360 release, and it includes the DLCs, so I'll let that slide as well. But with all of that said, Dark Souls Remastered is insulting, and here's why. Since this is a remaster, I will be solely judging it on what has been changed. Dark Souls 1 is a great game, but it is a great game that all of us own, and it's 8 years old. In order for DSR to be worth the price, it has to be measurably better, and it's not. Dark Souls was released on Steam 6 years ago. I remember the day it came out. I was incredibly excited. I had been hyped for months waiting for this game to come out because I didn't have a console at the time. And when I finally got it installed and booted it up, it was awful. The version of the game on Steam was just completely unacceptable. Unchangeable resolution, 30 FPS lock, unusable mouse and keyboard controls, awkward slowdowns, no borderless window support. The game was fucked. Now you'd think that with a big game developer like FromSoft and Bamco, they'd be pretty quick to apologize for the mess and put out a patch to fix things. Right? No. Dark Souls 1 on Steam, a game that has sold 2 million copies, doesn't have changeable resolution. That is it's just absurd. Luckily for us, modders stepped in and finished the game for FromSoft. The DS Fix mod by Durante came out only a few hours after the game's launch and fixed the resolution issues and many other little details. It now supports 60 FPS, the ability to change the size of the HUD, skipping game intros, texture overriding, so much good stuff. Later down the line, we got DSCM by Wolf, which was a mod that basically creates a matchmaking server for the game and allows you to directly connect with your friends and play essentially over password matching. It's an awesome mod, and I suggest you try it out if you hadn't, but it's a little too late for that, and I'll explain why later. Additionally, we've also gotten a lot of cool little tools here and there, like DS Mod T, that allow us to do model swaps and texture edits, and even edit the actual game itself and make remixes, like Dark Souls Rekindled and Prepare to Die Again. But here we are now. Dark Souls Remastered is coming out, and the original Dark Souls is being taken off Steam. All the work and mods and care and love for this game is just gone now. It's voided. You can no longer purchase the original game because Bamco says this version is better. And in some ways it is an improvement. But let's talk about that some more. Remember how I was saying earlier that we never got a patch? Dark Souls on Steam is 6 years old and you still can't change the fucking resolution. But hey, here's the patch. Here's the patch for the game that fixes that and gives us resolution control and 60 FPS. And it's gonna cost us $20. Yeah. It's okay to deny your customers basic features in a game and then charge them $20 for it 6 years down the line. That's really cool. So now that we're done with our little history lesson, let's try and take the game we're about to get and put it into perspective and find the actual value of what we're getting. Now I could be a meme here and just take the list of changes that they gave us and divide that by $20, and I could tell you that the bonfire they placed here, Vamos, is going to cost you about 80 cents, but that's just silly, so we're not going to do that. What we're going to do instead is look at other games that have been remastered and compare them to DSR. Halo Anniversary came out in 2011 for $40. The gameplay remained exactly the same, but graphically, Halo Anniversary was completely remade. The game even has a cool feature that allows you to swap between the old graphics and new graphics on the fly. The contrast between the original game and the updated one is incredibly striking, and it shows just how much work they put into it. It's really impressive. Halo Anniversary also added online co-op, which was not in the original game. In fact, there wasn't any online component in the original game at all. That was a substantial improvement over the original Halo. Halo Anniversary also included a few gimmicky things like 3D TV support and Kinect support, and even an old school map pack for Reach, as well as some firefight stuff. But even without that extra stuff, it shows you what $40 should be. But let's not stop there, because I know some of you are thinking, oh, you just picked a remaster that's actually good to make DSR look bad, right? No. Let's look at Skyrim Special Edition. Skyrim Special Edition was released in 2016, and it had a very mixed reception. And as a result of that, it has spawned some pretty great memes. Like DSR, this version of the game released on all the newer console generation, as well as PC. The changes in Skyrim Special Edition were also focused entirely on graphics and made almost no changes to the gameplay. It also made changes to stability as well, and when I played it myself, it did not crash anywhere near as often as the original Skyrim did. The biggest changes in Skyrim Special Edition appear to be mostly around the lighting and environments, and I honestly think Skyrim Special Edition looks noticeably, seriously better than the original. It's not always apparent in certain areas, but when you're outside, the lighting is just fantastically improved. Another cool feature of Skyrim Special Edition was that it added modding support for the consoles, which was pretty much unheard of up until now. Now, it has no effect on the PC version as we've always had mods, but I still think that's quite awesome that they decided to do that. So how much does Skyrim Special Edition, which is very similar to Dark Souls Remastered in a lot of aspects, cost us? Well, it was, free.
Who's laughing now?
If you owned Skyrim on Steam, you got the remaster for free. I think that puts things into perspective quite well. God bless you, Todd Howard. One of the arguments I've heard a lot in favor of DSR is that it's not finished yet, and this is just a network test. We haven't seen the full game, you can't judge it yet, but it is finished, and we have seen the full game. DSR is less than a month away from release. It's already in production. It's already being shipped out. It's done. There may be some patches to improve the game, but let's go back a little bit in this video and remember how Dark Souls 1 never got patched? I'll let you make your own conclusions about what kind of patches we can expect with Dark Souls Remastered.
Absolutely fucking nothing.
And as for not having played the full version yet, they gave us the list of changes over a month ago. We know what to expect, and we've already seen what the game looks like. It's still possible that Gwyn in the final version is actually Despacito, and the abyss is filled with giant crabs. But it's not. And if I'm wrong, I will drown myself with a Mountain Dew bottle. So let's finish this out with what DSR could have been. Most people agree that changing the gameplay for DSR would have been a bad idea. So here's a list of things that could have been done with little or no effect on gameplay while still improving the game in a real tangible way. Having the option to jump with L3, omnidirectional rolling, cloth physics on armor, being able to aim crossbows in first person in the same way that you can aim bows, being able to two-hand your offhand weapon, improving the UI. The game runs at a higher resolution now. There's more screen space to work with. They could have done a lot of stuff with that. Or they could have even redone the UI and made it look more like Dark Souls 3, which is better for the most part. Being able to summon red summon signs after an area boss is dead. And actually, I have a few more that have a little bit of an effect on gameplay, but are still really good changes that would improve the game. Being able to do a jumping attack out of a sprint. Being able to draw bows and crossbows while moving. Splitting the fire and reload animations of the crossbow to 2 actions, similar to Dark Souls 3. Being able to parry while two-handing a weapon, as L2 and L1 in Dark Souls do the exact same thing, they both block. Allowing offhand weapons to retain their full moveset, like in Dark Souls 2. Making poison not useless. Making throwing knives not useless. There are so many things that they could have done. They had the most incredible opportunity to take a game that was great and make it even better. And what do we get? A bonfire next to Vamos? It's just so disappointing. I think it's about time we wrap this up. I wanted to say once more that I do believe the console versions are for the most part okay. They definitely got a way better deal than the PC players. So instead of picking up DSR later this month, go try out Midair on Steam. It's pretty great. Or if you're in the mood for an RPG, I'd suggest Divinity Original Sin Enhanced Edition. it's a remaster that's actually worth your time. Regardless of what you do, though, thank you for watching, and go buy another copy of Skyrim.